The officer thought his uniform gave him control. He believed that the badge on his chest and the gun on his belt made him invincible. But in a single moment, everything he thought he knew about power, respect, and justice came crashing down in ways he would never be able to repair. It was a still evening in the suburbs, where the quiet was only interrupted by the occasional sound of tires on fresh pavement and the soft glow of streetlights casting long shadows on the deserted road. A dark luxury car glided along the street with almost no sound, its presence barely noticeable as it passed beneath rows of tall, silent trees. Behind the wheel sat Commander Eli Davis, a man whose posture seemed disciplined, even when he wasn't in uniform. His simple dark shirt and trousers couldn't hide the aura of authority he carried, honed through years of military experience. Davis had served for over 30 years, climbing the ranks from the barracks to war planning rooms where critical decisions affected thousands. But tonight, he was just another civilian heading home after a taxing day of strategy talks. Then, the flashing lights of a police car appeared in his rearview mirror. Davis sighed. He wasn't speeding. He hadn't done anything wrong. He knew exactly why the officer was pulling him over. He eased his car to the side of the road and came to a stop. The officer behind him halted as well, and the sound of a door opening broke the stillness. A young cop stepped out, his face tense, with a fresh, eager look that only came from someone who felt the need to prove themselves. Officer Mark Collins had only recently joined the force, but he walked with the confidence of someone who believed he was already in control. Collins eyed the luxury car suspiciously. It didn't seem like it belonged here, not on this street, not in his town. He approached the driver's side window with a hand hovering near his holster, trying to act as though he was handling something serious. With a knock, he demanded license and registration. Davis, calm as always, nodded and replied, "Good evening, officer. May I ask what the reason is for the stop?" "Just give me your papers," Collins snapped, disregarding the question. Davis complied, handing over his ID and vehicle registration with a quiet patience. Collins took them, squinting at the ID before looking back at the man in disbelief. "Where'd you steal this car from?" Collins scoffed. Davis remained unfazed. He'd handled far worse in his time: hostile foreign officials, dangerous criminals, and war zones. A rookie cop didn't intimidate him. "This is my vehicle," Davis replied evenly. "I'm Commander Eli Davis, U.S. military." Collins let out a short laugh, waving the ID dismissively. "Sure, and I'm the president. Step out of the car." Davis hesitated for a brief moment, then calmly unbuckled his seatbelt and stepped out. He had encountered situations like this before, where his rank, his accomplishments, or his service didn't matter to someone who only saw his appearance. He stood tall, his back straight. "What's the reason for this stop?" Davis asked. "Because I said so," Collins answered smugly, a sneer on his face. Davis held his ground. Years of military training had taught him to stay composed under pressure. "You're making a huge mistake," he said flatly. "We'll see about that," Collins sneered, grabbing Davis and pushing him against the side of the car. The handcuffs snapped into place, too tight, unnecessarily so, but Davis said nothing. As Collins shoved Davis into the back of the squad car, the officer seemed convinced that it was just another routine arrest, just another night of doing his job. But Davis, sitting in the back of the car, was waiting. At the station, the atmosphere was typical. A few officers sipped stale coffee, and the buzz of conversation filled the air. But when Collins marched in, his voice loud and overly confident, telling everyone he had arrested a high-ranking official who was clearly lying about his identity, a few officers stopped and stared. One officer, Sergeant Ben Rhodes, recognized the name instantly. He'd been on the force long enough to know who Commander Davis was. His heart sank as he approached Collins. "Do you have any idea who you just arrested?" Rhodes asked, his voice tight. Collins shrugged. "He's some guy claiming to be a general. Probably watched too many war movies." Rhodes didn't waste time. He reached for the phone and dialed a number most officers didn't even know. Collins watched him, confused. "What are you doing?" Collins demanded. Rhodes didn't answer. The phone rang. A voice on the other end answered. "This is General Sandra Wells at the Pentagon." "Who is this?" Rhodes swallowed. This is Sergeant Ben Rhodes from Oakville Police. We've got Commander Eli Davis in custody. There was a long silence, followed by a voice so cold it could freeze blood. You have who? Commander Eli Davis, ma'am. There was a pause. Then came the words that instantly ended Colin's career. You have 10 seconds to release him. If he's not out of your custody by then, I'll send every federal agent to your doorstep. Rhodes didn't wait another second. He rushed to the holding cell, unlocking it as fast as he could. The entire station seemed to freeze, the weight of what had just happened settling heavily over everyone. When the door opened, Davis stood up, his back straight, his expression calm. You're free to go, Rhodes said, his voice cracking slightly. I apologize for the mistake. Davis took his time, stepping forward with dignity, only pausing to rub the raw marks left by the cuffs on his wrists. He then turned slowly toward Collins, who stood nearby, shaking with fear. You asked earlier who would stop you, Davis said in a quiet voice, his gaze steady. This isn't over. Before Collins could respond, a dozen black SUVs screeched to a halt outside the station. Men in suits poured in, moving with precision, radiating authority. The lead agent stepped forward, showing his badge. Officer Mark Collins, you're under arrest for unlawful detention of a high-ranking U.S. military officer. Collins blinked, mouth agape. Arrested? For what? For the unlawful detention of Commander Eli Davis, the agent said firmly. You have the right to remain silent. Collins didn't fight back. His arms were yanked behind his back, and he was cuffed, ironically, with the same cuffs he had used on Davis. As he was pushed against the wall, Collins' eyes met Davis's one final time. But Davis didn't glare. He didn't say a word. He simply walked out of the station, unshaken and silent. Justice had already been served. The story of Commander Eli Davis and Officer Mark Collins is more than just an isolated incident. It's a powerful reminder of the weight that comes with authority. It highlights how respect is earned, not demanded, and that true power lies in the way one carries themselves, not in a badge, a uniform, or the weapons they carry. Commander Davis, with decades of service behind him, understood this deeply. His quiet confidence and unshakable composure were the marks of a leader who had seen it all but never lost his integrity. On the other hand, Officer Collins, driven by his own insecurities and the need to prove himself, learned a hard lesson about the dangers of arrogance. His overzealousness and disregard for who he was confronting cost him everything: his job, his reputation, and any semblance of respect. This story serves as a stark reminder that, in life, actions often speak louder than words. Authority without wisdom, respect, and empathy is hollow. It is not the title you hold that defines your worth, but how you carry yourself and treat others, regardless of their rank. And when justice is invoked, it doesn't need to scream to be heard. It moves swiftly, quietly, and with undeniable force. In the end, those who hold true power will always command respect, whether they ask for it or not.